Hey guys, in this video, work continues on the Aussie Cruzer, the Freedom Flyer. Going to finish up the tail and move on to the avionics. Got my dashboard installed and we're going to flick the power on for the first time. Hope you enjoy this one. Alright guys, let's be honest, you're going to have some nights when you don't feel like working on the aircraft, I guess. So I've just come out here, just keeping up with my mate Van Simons from Post Falls, Idaho, I think it is. G'day Vance. I just got to do something every day, mate, keep up with you. So it's good to have the Zenith community out there helping each other. So tonight I've just, I'll bring the camera in a bit closer, but I just finished fitting the elevator upstop. Just went off the plans, so I'll show you what I did there. So as per the plans, a bit of that Perspex Teflon-y looking stuff. Just got the angle right. These rivets might look a bit big, but calls for AS5 stainless rivets. So they're 4mm rivets, or 4.3 or 8 or something. They just got a bigger head on them. I just got them from the hardware store, but they're stainless steel, which is what the plans call for, as opposed to just normal A5s. Measured it up, and then all I did was, see, I've still got it written on the elevator, so it's basically 26 to 30, 28 plus or minus 2. Well, that's up. So set my 0 on the elevator. Trusty old phone. So there wasn't a great deal of science in this. It's just an upstop. So set my 0, take it up till the stop hits, and I now get 29 point something or other, which is great. And that surface meets nice and flush. Now, so a few people have mentioned, yeah, this skin's fairly soft and there's nothing in there. That's fair enough, but you do have to remember, I still have to rivet the hinge, but there's also an L angle either side for the fin. That'll get, so you got two L angles running down the width of the fin, which will support this skin as well. So more than happy with that as an upstop, and doesn't hit the front. And still on the elevator, I was going to go up the front and start on my MGL Avionics package, but I've got it set up now, so I think I'll continue with this, get the fin on, finish the fin and the dorsal fin, and that'll be the back end basically done until I paint, run some cables, hook up the trim, and we're done down here. So with the down stop, I've got a nice, this bracket hits the solid L bracket, if you like, for the main fin post. I'm about 1.5 to 2 degrees, not quite enough down elevator, but a consideration I've got, I'll wait till I fit the fin, because this is going to have counterweights on it as well, so you have to take into account, I think the counterweights have sort of got a bit of a taper on them. I'll keep it flush with the bottom so it doesn't hit the cable at full up elevator, which will come close. But also in the fin, I know there's a horizontal rib up there somewhere. So before I go, it's just a matter of, I can just radius it obviously and take a bit off there, a little bit at a time, just to get me within limits. But I think I'll do that once the fin's on, because I'd rather it hit down the bottom on the stop than have this trying to punch a hole through the single rib that's in the fin. So that's where that's at. Alright, just thought I'd offer the fin up to the fuselage, the rest of the empennage. And Zenith's just done a fantastic job. I haven't touched this yet, so I just built it. It's been in the spare room for 5 months I've been going now. Clecoed it on, offered it up, 4 clecos holding the fin on. I've got to drill these holes out. I was expecting to have to trim this, but a combination of Zenith's work and my own work, I've got to pat myself on the back. Look at that, I do not have to touch that. It's just perfect. Now I can mount the dorsal fin. I'm a bit worried. It'd be nice to have an engine in the front to keep the nose down. Got my trusty work stand there, but a bit precarious at the moment as I'm adding weight down the back here. I just wanted to show you the fit of that. That's fantastic. Alright, so I'm just slowly working my way down the fin spar to the fuselage. Clecoing that up. I'm just thinking about these two identical panels here with a access hole on each side. Now I understand the reason there's two, I believe, is just saves on shipping and cutting parts and manufacturing, etc. They don't have to send a left and a right, they just send you two of these, which are ambidextrous, go each side. So one of these holes is not required, I don't think anyway. There's nothing actually in this hole. I understand why it's there, so you can get, these are bolts, those gold Clecos, so it has 4 bolts, 2 top, 2 bottom, two top, 2 at the bottom. The top ones are just accessed by pushing the elevator up out of the way, and the bottom ones getting through there, and that's it. So elevator trim wire, which is just a wire, no real need to get to that because it runs all the way down there that I can't get to. The rear pulley that I did, I'm not sure if you can see it on the, well, you won't be able to, the lightning hole up in there, so you can touch, I can touch that rear pulley. I can't do much else. I could oil it, I guess, if it was to squeak. If the cable jumps out of the pulley after these panels are on, not sure. So I'm just wondering whether I go to the trouble of, I'll put anchor nuts on one side, I think, and just rivet this side on. Because I'm right-handed, I think from the other side, I'll be able to reach up in there. That's left hand. On right hand down there. I'll just work out which side ergonomically suits me better. But you know, there's bolts up in the wing struts or on the wings you can't get to, nuts and bolts. There's bolts in the main landing gear channel you can't get to, and you'll never see the light of day again. So these bolts here don't necessarily need to see the light of day again, and it's only 2, 4, 6, 8 rivets anyway to get that off. So I know a lot of people go to the trouble making this an access hatch, but I believe the only reason there's 2 is just to save on manufacturing, and they just send you 2 of these pieces, so one side can just be, I'm going to rivet one side on, I'll do anchor nuts on the other side. Alright, so one of the cool things with building your own aeroplane, I guess, is you feel your confidence grow, which is a good thing. So this bracket is for the fin to mount on, and obviously the skin is curved. So I just took it on myself, thought I could make it better. So drill a hole, bandsaw a slot, and now this will it'll curve nicely to where I want it to, rather than there, just do the easy bit, which means this part of the fin's got no, it's not secure to the leading edge up here, or most of it. So I'll have it secured all the way up to the spar. Same as this is for the other side, but then the dorsal fin will go on, and I think what I'll do up the front here is I'll just flute this edge, because the way this has to curve. I thought I could flute it, but fluting that sort of reduces the amount of material that you need, so it'll curve, as I'm holding that, it'll curve down like that, but that's not the way I want. Up there you need to actually, it needs to stretch in the way that you'd add material, so it needs to open up that gap that I've just made ever so slightly, but you can't obviously make material, whereas at the front there it needs to curl in, so I need to reduce the amount of material so I can crimp that. Anyway, I'm starting to dribble. You get the picture, so that's going well. Alright, so I've just been trying to, call this the dorsal fin if you like. It's just an extension of the fin. It's not actually a dorsal fin, but we'll call it the dorsal fin. as you can see, it's fairly thick, this part, and got a really good, so it's about a little bit over 90-degree bend in it. It's very springy. I don't want to bend it anymore. Just been mucking around, trying to get a nice fit around the tailplane. Sort of got to do both sides at once. I was toying with the idea of whether you start, I can get this edge along here straight, and obviously on the centre line, start clecoing. The problem with doing that, when I get to the bottom, there's 2 rows of A5 rivets here. I could potentially miss, and I've learnt that, you know, it's a bit like doing one of those Sudoku puzzles. If you take a guess, it's going to bite you further down the track. So, needs a lot of work. Just slowly carving out this slot. The easiest way I found was run a texture around the tailplane just to give you a nice parallel gap. Also don't want it touching the tailplane because that'll chafe over times, and obviously you don't want a hole in your leading edge of your tailplane or any wear marks. So at this stage, I've also got the aircraft, I'll show you here. I've just got the aircraft supported with a sawhorse, and it's starting to get quite heavy because I haven't got an engine fitted. I've just knocked up this originally. There's very little weight in the tail, and I'm slowly adding more and more weight. Space is an issue. You can see where I'm working here. That's my workbench. So lucky my wife's a chiropractor. I'm working in there. So next step on this is I'm going to put it under the bench, and hopefully the elves come and do it overnight for me. Tail's coming off, again, fins coming off. I was hoping to get all this to final stage ready to paint. I have secured hangar space, so once I get more space, and once I get the engine in the front and the aircraft sits of its own accord, bear in mind I'll still need a tail stand because I can potentially lean on it. I'll revisit the dorsal fin. So for now, too hard, walk away. I don't want to do something that I'm going to regret. This is a big visual piece. I want a nice clear line, parallel line. It's a metal aeroplane, so you're going to have joins everywhere, but still want it as neat as possible. Other guys have made a fairing, I know. I could end up doing that still. I'd love to do like a finger fillet or something, but that's going to crack over time. Could use goop, like PR1440. Nice finger fillet and paint over the top, or Sikaflex or Pro Seal, polyurethane. But I think over time that'll wear away and look worse than just have a sheet metal gap. So that's where we're at the moment. Tail's coming off. It's a nice day. Rearrange the shed, and then I'm going to go back to my avionics at the front. Right, tail's off. Fuselage turned around. Just picked up my floor mats. Just drop one in. Beautiful. Sits in there nicely. I'm just going to, because that's sitting on top of rivet tails on the back of these, I'm just going to glue some, I've got some under here. Something similar to that. I'll just glue some foam. I might even press it into the rivets and then use a soldering iron to, once I know where the rivets are, just so it sits nicely. Or, I think it's fine the way it is, but you can sort of feel the rivets through there and they might eventually wear through. So I'll just put a bit of sacrificial backing on there. But the local upholsterer has done a fantastic job. And I've got my roller carpet, which will run, I'm just going to do the back wall, the shelf, all the way down and meet up down there. That's the plan. I'll hold off on this until the seats are installed. Once again, saving weight, non-adjustable seats, set and forget. When I say non-adjustable, it's not a sliding seat. I can still drill probably 3 locations if I really wanted to. And I'll hop in and set it up for myself. But there's nothing stopping me. You know, it's only 6 bolts, so just do 1, 2, do 3 lots of anchor nuts if you really wanted to. Have 3 locations, just means you can't slide it forward and back. But with the centre stick, getting in and out's not an issue. so keep it light. Those, from what I understand, the sliding seats pretty heavy. Just making the final cuts on the panel for the IEFIS screen using the Dremel. So I made the 2 vertical cuts. That's probably used half a blade. Yeah, quick release, I don't know, diamond cutting blades. There's a lot of fine dust everywhere. What I find with the blade, once you get it in and get it started, just use the blade itself, and it's sort of self-guiding to get it straight. That's all cut freehand. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's adequate. I'll make myself, I always do a paper template first, and the paper template obviously fits over the job perfectly. One thing to note, it's got square edges. You got about 1/4 inch, 6mm flange on this side, and I don't know why, it's like 1/8 of an inch top and bottom. So you got to be fairly accurate, otherwise it's going to miss. It'd be nice to have just a bigger, slightly bigger flange, like 1/4 inch all round. It'd be nice. Okay, that's my panel pretty much cut out. So at the moment, an educated guess: 1/4 inch hole for the throttle, flap, elevator trim, and elevator LED. The MGL IEFIS will drop in there. Now what I've done with that, because I plan to, this is going to be also my access, if you like, so I can pull that out. I'll have quick disconnects for the pitot and static lines. I can take things off as required. Supplied is 3mm nuts and bolts, but I just made up some alloy angles with 3mm. I went with 3mm riv nuts. I know the edge distance is out, but you need that so that it will tuck in nice. I don't know why they don't make the flange. Give us a decent flange. As you can see, very tight in there. But anyway, that allows me, when it's installed, I can reach underneath and makes it a lot easier to get, well, I won't have to get to the top nut as being a riv nut. Worst case, if I went with the nuts, I could actually reach in, take the iPad out, reach through, and I can reach those nuts over there. But with the riv nut idea, on the L angle, reach up inside and bolt the IEFIS in. So that's that side. Start button in the centre, top centre. I've gone with choke and carby heat. Now also you'll notice they're a bit off centre. The reason for that, the IEFIS sits there. To make these even, unfortunately the iPad has this extra dorgan, if you like, poking out the side. So they're slightly, this is centred on that half, if you like, and that's centred on that half of the panel, but they're not equidistant from the centre line. I'm not sure if that'll have much to do with the visual. Originally I thought I was going to have a radio head. That's why I gave myself as much room as I needed over there. Hindsight, I guess. Oh no, it looks like I need that space anyway for my levers that I've got here. Had that come across. That's fine. I'm happy with that the way it is. I've got the circuit breakers. I've drawn up my electrical diagram. I've got 6 circuit breakers. Also cheated though. I've put some cheater holes in here so that if I ever do need to, so one circuit breaker fitted. So if I have a bank of 6, if I need to whack 1, 2 or 6, whatever any more I need, the holes are already there and they're all nicely squared and drilled out. So that'll just get covered up. And also there's a little cheater hole up here for that's where my cabin heat, should I choose to fit it, once I start flying and get cold, the cabin heater will go up there. I figured it's on the passenger side. They can play with that all day and won't affect the aircraft. That's where we're at the moment. And the dash, the instrument panel, temp fitted. Got my shells riveted in, they're solid. I ran some rubber strip just along the edge here. I'll get some more for that other shelf. It'll just help with the lines going over the edge. These will all be tied up at the end with the dowel clamps, etc. One concern I have got with my my Guardian panel for my iPad. It's got the springs on the back. Now, the way this mounts is up in there. So I've added this bit of fluoro string, it's bricky string. It actually sits the other way. My concern was, or is, if one of these springs breaks, you know, it might take 5 or 10 years, it could fall across my terminals, or just from the positive to earth, or to the airframe. So there's nothing stopping. You can see my problem. So if the spring was to break, it could potentially land across the terminals. So I've just, yeah, call me crazy, I've just run a bit of bricky string straight through the spring, aluminium tape each end, made sure the aluminium tape wasn't long enough to go across both terminals, if that was to fall off. So the panel still works fine, and I might drop a Perspex cover across this once it's complete. Just plonk it on top, secure it down. Just didn't look good to me having the springs. If it broke at the end, obviously the spring has still got a bit of tension on it, and it would contract and just swing down. So the chances are very slim, but just made myself feel better securing the springs. And I'll still put a cover over the positive, I think. So the panel with all the cutouts, I think it's time to cover the panel, start fitting things for good. I was going to put a USB port somewhere, but I think I'll put that down out of the way. Because you don't want it loud and proud up the front. Just keep the panel looking nice. All those other odds and sods, sort of the USB's just by the wayside. I think I'll put it down there somewhere, out of the way. Beautiful. Been looking forward to this bit for a while. It's a carbon fibre on the dash, with the grain running sort of diagonally. I did that so you couldn't get it wrong, rather than try to get it vertically or horizontal. Now, spent some time with the X-Acto knife. I probably used 6 blades on that. Just a nice new blade for the good cuts, and then fold the edges over on the back. And then I've gone around, obviously, with the soldering iron. Now just pop out the holes, cut out the those bits there with the soldering iron and the knife still. Looking good, almost time to mount some gear up. Alright, so just playing with the MGL IEFIS or IEFIS, and I've got some of my harnesses. I've got more harnesses to come, so it might make a bit more sense then, but you know, advertisers plug and play, but all these are labelled, but I can't for the life of me online or anywhere like that find a wiring diagram or simple, you know, yellow to yellow and blue to blue. Look, there's a yellow wire on this, nowhere else, which is audio out. Maybe that connects to my other harness. So I've been online to the MGL website, and there's plenty of some information on the RDAC, the compass, the radio, and then there is pages and pages of, so you've got the installation manual and the IEFIS user manual. So great, that's what I want, installation manual. Now what I'm after is physically, hey, use 3mm bolts, install it, now start plugging this in. But the first couple of lines, like this thing's pretty swanky, but it just goes pretty much a brief outline of what everything is, and configure the system for the first time. You want to start by calibrating the tap screen. Well, hold the bus. I can't even turn the thing on yet. So it'd be really nice if, yeah, I could find out, like I'm just going to plug power in and I assume it just turns on. There's also a, on YouTube and Google, there's a simulator that you, I think with the, on the front there's a USB port, well not a USB, SD card goes in there. And there's a guy that's gone to the trouble of making all the videos. Like you can update on your screen, you know, you can put airspeed on this side and swap, you know, RPM on this side and move things around, you know, pretty pictures and basically delete things you don't want on the screen, move pixels and slide that across 2 inches if you want. That's fantastic. But then when you go to, I don't know if it's outdated, but I tried to download the, first of all you need Windows. I was trying to do it on a little Mac computer thinking I could take the portable laptop out to the aircraft when the time comes. But I mean, you need a Windows based thing and download the simulator. Anyway, on the website, none of the links seem to work and the simulator is not as user friendly. You know, it should be just click, download, install, and then you have your simulator, and then I'd expect this to come up. Not that simple. So a bit of frustration here at the moment, but we'll forge on, and I can ring the company, I guess, and I'll wait till I get the rest of my harness. But yeah, just can't find the numpty guide to how this all, like these plugs plug into each other, but I'm only guessing. Don't know if that's right, wrong, or what. You know, plugging things in just because they fit doesn't sort of mean it's going to work. Anyway, the frustration's coming through, but we'll work through it. Ta-da! This is one of those Tom Hanks moments, I think. I'm going to stand back and beat my chest. Got power on my new dashboard. It looks like I've done a lot, but I've just hooked up power to the IEFIS screen. Also my flaps work. LED indicator here, which is not, there's nothing at the back, so it's not hooked up. But this will be elevator trim with my LED indicator. Still have to work out the right direction, but that's the IEFIS. Pretty happy with that. The IEFIS has gone in. Alright, pretty cool. Power on, got the IEFIS running over there. Dashboard's looking pretty good. Got my iPad here. This one's a bit too big to go into the slot. This is one from an older one from inside, but it'll enable me to just flick through the images in flight with Oz runways, etc. Can have a good look at things like that. Ooh, got to remember to delete the is it Control Alt delete history. Anyway, so I've got the iPad there, and that just allows you to, yeah, IEFIS on one side, iPad on the other, and you can flick through and look at things as they come up. I mean, Oz runways. So here's behind the panel. It's all pretty new to me, but just started wiring this up. Positive and negative bus. Put some rubber strip on here for obvious reasons. Started a bundle on the other side. Didn't want to bundle too much up to start with, but usually if it looks neat, it's right. Going to keep all the information type cables and aerials separate, but if they're just power, I'll bundle them together and leave plenty of slack. Obviously this will get tidied up in the middle. So my two shelves, and adding in circuit breakers as needed, and these will get tidied up with a nice little label similar to these fellas. Alright guys, pretty happy with that. Got power on, IEFIS is in. I won't say it's working, all I've got is positive and negative to the screen, but it flashed up, and yeah, just progressing well with the wiring and that sort of thing. So Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, it does help, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.